Hey everyone, it's Swank Ivy again with another Letters to an Asexual. This is number 88. Today I'm going to combine an ignorant message with a pretty long tweet thread that is vaguely on the same subject. And first I'm going to subject you to a message I got on OkCupid from a man who gave me one line, and he wrote this: "You're like a cute puppy in the window that no one can adopt." My response: I'm not a thing for other people's consumption. What I want matters, and I kind of resent the implication that I'm a disappointment. A puppy in the window is ostensibly for sale. Just because you can see me doesn't mean I put myself in a window. And he replied, "You must have deep-rooted issues. People in all religions and countries seek sex. It's natural. You're not a disappointment to me. You're making statements based on things you've never experienced. So you're really only disappointing yourself. Your obvious tirade is a huge cry for validation on some level known only to you. P.S. Oral sex is next to seeing God." My reply: haha. Well, you can feel free to tell yourself that everyone who has desires that differ from yours is screwed up. Or you can try to understand that some people's sexual orientation is something you can't comprehend. But I'm kind of sad for the closed-mindedness you must live with every day. Sexual attraction is what drives many people to seek sexual encounters. You must have some people you're not sexually attracted to, and I imagine you'd laugh heartily if someone told you it was sad, limiting, and indicative of huge personal issues if your own attraction experiences prevented you from having great sex with them. I really think you should learn to respect other people's experiences, instead of trying ham-handedly to graft your own desires onto others as the only valid way to experience the world. It's pretty common, though, for people like you who can't accept the huge range of human experience to insist that people like me, who are happy to educate on their own unusual experiences while respecting those of others, must be crying for attention. That's the only way you can see it, I guess. It's pretty disappointing, but it's also par for the course when dealing with people who lack empathy and must cling to their own beliefs as defining well-adjusted perspectives and behavior. The asexual community, a huge, varied, multifaceted group of people worldwide, would all laugh at the small-minded, boring, overused commentary you've offered here. But I can't make you learn or respect other people. All I can say is that I've provided resources on the orientation if you want to understand how people different from you think. But if you'd rather run by and squawk about our obvious unreasonableness because we don't share your values, instead of, say, just leaving us alone or educating yourself, congratulations. You're just one of the many who doesn't bother to learn before you judge. Meanwhile, I'm having a fantastically fulfilled life, and you're doing drive-bys on girls' profiles telling them their unavailability to you is comparable to not being able to buy a fucking dog. So unfair, oh my god, right? Good job. Don't respond to this, because the system will not deliver any more messages from you to my inbox. Translation: I blocked him. So, I recently had a tweet thread about people who think of other people that they're attracted to as behaving in an unfair fashion for not making themselves available. And even though this tweet thread is definitely talking about kind of a different sort of person than this person was, it's still kind of got the same root, because there are a lot of people in this world who believe that it doesn't make any sense if we have willing possible partners to deny them and ourselves that experience. We have all these inconvenient feelings about it that are about ourselves. We must be the selfish ones. So this is my tweet thread about that topic. And I guess the overlap is sort of in the objectification, where they're seeing us as a thing they should be able to want and purchase, rather than a person with feelings. Begin tweet thread. I think one of the biggest issues with how we discuss sexual relationships is that many of the people approach me assuming that I should by default be open to a relationship with them. And if I refuse, I should be obligated to provide a good reason or excuse why not. I'm approached disturbingly often by people, mostly men, who seem baffled and offended that I'm not open to dating or sex with them. These are people whose names I don't know, with whom I've never had a conversation. Man on the street thinks it's reasonable to say, "But why not?" "But what's wrong with me then? Why are you treating me this way? Why the automatic rejection? Why wouldn't you at least give me a chance?" I mean, because from my perspective, I need a reason to consider any relationship with someone, and you've given me nothing. Nothing, that is, beyond opening with your entitlement. Your belief that because you asked, you have earned and deserve my attention. Your belief that selecting me and having the courage to speak to me means you qualify, and I lack the grounds to reject you. As if when you choose me, I passively default to a yes, unless I have an opt-out pass that you consider logical. I'm married, or I'm gay, or I belong to a group you dislike. All of these, mind you, only qualify sometimes. They aren't beyond pestering married or queer women. And they are so wounded at the idea. It kills them. It destroys their very soul. Meanwhile, they literally haven't had a conversation with me. And now I'm responsible for throwing a grenade at their heart. I mean, do they not get that this is the definition of objectification? Because I'm not even a person at this point. I'm an idea. An idea that they've likely selected based on photos. They dream of me, fantasize about me, and have decided what our life will be like. So how dare I say I'm not willing to even give them a chance? Maybe because that entire fantasy went through their head without my participation? Did you ever think about that? About what that says when you've lived a whole mini-life invested in the idea that I'm your goddess, but I've never met you and find it off-putting, not romantic? How about the part where you're now dumping your feelings on me and blaming me for them because you feel bad? Because you didn't get me? Because my consent is so beside the point that you never even expected to have to ask the question? I'm not even attracted to men. And yet, so many men have told me that that shouldn't matter. That each and every one who gets in line to bravely tell me I'm beautiful should be considered tenderly, dated patiently, and given as long as he likes to win my heart. When I know you've never asked a single thing about what's in my mind and heart, but somehow you're in love with me. I know we don't have the same definition of love, and that's an immediate signal to me that I'm not even safe speaking to you. The entitlement is that high. When "but I'm not sexually interested in men, though," is responded to with, "But don't you see how badly that hurts me?" I don't even know what to do with that. And it's almost always coupled with, "But can't you just ignore your lack of attraction and try anyway? I'll surprise you." The assumption that, of course, he will be the one to change my mind has been offered by literally hundreds of men in my lifetime. Being a queer activist sure does get me in front of a lot of people who intensely want to laugh at me when I finally settle down with a man. He is different. I should give him a chance. I should patiently wait for my feelings to change when he's already shown me at the outset how clear it is that he does not accept another version of this story, i.e., I already know how I feel and want to be trusted in that, thanks. And let's not kid ourselves here. He's not looking for a fair chance, after which he would accept, okay, yeah, she's really not into me. I've tried that, back when I was less experienced and more naive. Maybe he'll shut up and leave me alone if I humor him a while, I thought. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. He just gets whinier about how come I can't erode my boundaries even further because he feels so unloved and I'm so cold. The giving him a chance is always just more of him promising me he's nice and pestering me for the sex he deserves. Every dude who has never had a conversation with me promises he is not that guy. No, he is different. He alone deserves a chance. He is the nice one. He will conquer my very silly beliefs that I know myself. He will turn me into his princess, and oh, by the way, I will really like it. Again, all his fantasy. I don't want to be his princess. But he doesn't ask what I want, because what I want is not relevant. I can't stress enough how important it is to see this as a red flag, when his pain over not getting a stranger's attention is center stage like this. The real reason they expect me to ignore my lack of attraction to them is that they've already done so. And it was so easy. When my disinterest is processed as a simple inconvenience, they should be able to break through with logic. I know I'm not a real person in their eyes. They can blubber all they like about how, of course, they care about how I feel. I'd be their queen. Why don't I want someone to cherish and love me? Treat me right, like a woman should be treated. Because, dude, this is your fantasy. Of course, in your fantasy, she likes you back. But I don't like you back. And it is alarming that you don't understand why that's important. You've picked out a dress for this wife you want. And you're telling everybody about the fantasy you have about going through life next to the woman wearing this dress. But I don't like the color. It's not my style, and it's the wrong size for me. And here you're whining about how I won't even try it on. Dude, you bought that dress. And you're carrying it around trying to find a woman to slip it onto. If somebody likes that, cool. Great. But I already told you I didn't. And furthermore, I picked out a shit ton of my own lovely clothes. I want to spend time with people who like me in the outfits I picked. Yet, here you are pestering me about why I can't just wear yours. Not going to happen, man. And one more thing. I don't buy the claims of deep hurt, and certainly don't accept blame for them. I realize you're lonely, but that isn't up to me to fix. Especially not if you're grafting feelings onto me in a hypothetical relationship we don't have. If you know nothing about me, but I've broken your heart by having inconvenient feelings of my own, I know it's not even me you're mourning. You literally don't know me, and thought you were talking to a mannequin, upon whom you could slide your chosen dress and claim as an object. I really have to wonder if these dudes who process me as selfish for having my own priorities and desires have ever listened to what comes out of their own mouths. That concludes the epic thread about objectification and disappointing people by not being available. I swear to God, if anybody ever compares me to a dog in a window again, I don't know, maybe I'll make a YouTube video about it. Thanks for listening. See y'all next time.